Every time I reread Hunter x Hunter, I find myself in the same situation. I sit down intending to analyze its visual storytelling, frame by frame, but I always end up getting completely absorbed in the plot. No matter how many times I revisit the series, and it's been at least 10, it still grips me like the very first time. I'm sure many of you remember what Togashi once said in an interview: "Mangaka don't have time to draw. If anything, they should learn how to tell stories." As a creator myself, I couldn't agree more. After analyzing so many anime series, I've come to understand the depth of that statement more and more. At first, I approached my analysis from a technical angle: eye guidance, camera framing, visual composition. But over time, I found myself focusing less on those aspects. Not because they're unimportant, but because it started to feel like picking up sesame seeds while ignoring watermelons. There are countless great manga out there, yet only a select few manage to truly amaze you. And that feeling? It doesn't come from fancy storyboarding tricks. So with that context in mind, let's dive into what really makes Hunter x Hunter so addictive. First and foremost, Hunter x Hunter is a rare blend of brains and brawls. Think about it, there are plenty of manga with intense intellectual battles, and even more that deliver pure, high-octane action. But how many truly master both? Very few. If you can tell a coherent, complete story that combines strategy and combat, you'll almost certainly captivate your audience. But that's just the beginning. What truly sets Togashi apart is how he builds his world. His imagination is grounded in reality, and that's what makes it so immersive. Take the opening of the Chimera Ant arc. The NGL, where the Queen first lands, is portrayed as a country that hides behind extreme environmentalism, while engaging in all sorts of shady, authoritarian practices. Technology is banned. Information is scarce. People live in primitive conditions. Sound familiar? At first glance, the story developments that follow might seem coincidental. But the more you look, the more flawless the logic becomes. Why is the threat so terrifying? The Chimera ants that nearly wiped out humanity are only classified as B-class, while human civilization is A-class? And why did the Queen wash up on a coast that just so happens to be perfect for her reproduction? After finishing the Chimera Ant and election arcs, do you still think any of that happened by accident? This is where Togashi's genius shines. The most important ideas he conveys are often lurking deep beneath the surface. Because at the end of the day, a well-crafted fictional world is just a reflection of how the author sees the real one. Now, many creators can draw from personal experiences or inspiration to craft powerful opening scenes. But continuing the story? That's where things get tricky. Every plot development requires a choice, a decision that shapes the entire narrative moving forward. Let's look at a moment from the manga. After the Queen's remains are discovered, every faction's reaction is interconnected. That's not just good writing. It's realistic. Kite and his team were originally hired to study the local ecology. But after a seemingly casual conversation, they learned about the discovery of an unidentified creature. The research team analyzed the remains and suspected they belonged to Chimera ants. Killua, judging by the scale of the remains, realized these creatures likely preyed on humans, and needed to be stopped immediately. Even though Kite, Gon, and Killua were cautious and efficient in dealing with threats on their way, they didn't know about the existence of the royal guards. And that's what led them to cross paths, unintentionally, with Patuzen from miles away. The result? Kite's death. It's like a row of dominoes. A great story moves forward step by step, without any unnatural gaps. And the force that keeps those dominoes falling smoothly? It's Togashi's deep understanding of human behavior and real-world logic. That kind of narrative mastery doesn't come from just studying storyboards or practicing your drawing every day. It comes from life experience, from playing games, from countless hours spent thinking about how stories work. Some fans in the comments have said, if Gon and Killua hadn't been there, Kite would have survived. Later, when Patu holds Kite's head after defeating him, I remember seeing people online who just couldn't accept it. They even cursed Togashi for being too cruel. But as a creator, that reaction made me reflect. What if Kite hadn't lost his arm and faced Patu at full strength? Maybe he could have escaped. Or maybe not. The king hadn't been born yet, so Patu had a lot of freedom to move. What if Gon had chosen the magnetic card instead of the companion card in Greed Island? What if he and Killua hadn't joined the palace invasion? What would have happened to the extermination squad, or humanity itself? What if the king had never met Komugi? What if the crow hadn't attacked her just as the door opened? The story could easily spiral into 1,000 what-ifs. But the mark of a brilliant storyteller is being able to weave those ifs into a narrative that feels inevitable,